back to the Triforce podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here. Oh, what a nice day it is.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Sips. Good morning.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Good morning to you too. I trust you're well.
Hello, P Flags.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
How are you?
Jolly well, thank you so much for asking.
Feeling good?
Yes.
Man, what an interesting week it's been.
Has it?
Oh yeah, so much has happened.
Has it?
Lots of things going on.
Give me a rundown of the top 3 things that have happened this week. A sentence for each, please.
Okay. Number 1.
Number 1.
I don't know. It's a slow
do you want a hand?
news week. Yes, help me,
All right,
please.
so something that did happen that I think all of us can
relate to.
Not relate to, I guess, but it's certainly something that we should all appreciate. All 3 of us for sure.
Right.
Lotax died, which is he actually did.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he died.
I did not know this.
Rich
Kyanka, the founder of Something Awful, died. Yeah.
Of what?
They're not entirely sure. Apparently,
right.
Well, they haven't announced it yet. At least, he had not had a very happy last few years.
No.
Turns out he'd been not even actually a cunt to several women.
Yes.
Wasn't a particularly nice guy.
No.
And had run up some big debts, and he had some problems with his back and opioids and all the rest of it. So it's not clear whether he killed himself or whether he died of natural causes. I don't know, but he was not a well man in many ways.
No,
so
man, that's crazy. I did not realize. I didn't know.
No, I only heard this morning.
Oh,
but
God.
Pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So there are so many people that I know through Something Awful.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously the Yogscast wouldn't exist without it.
No.
So yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I still remember when he fought Uwe Boll in that boxing match.
That's right. Gosh, yeah, that's like that was
the original meme boxing match before the KSI Logan Paul stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Something Awful was so far ahead of its time.
It was. Yeah, I mean, and produced a lot of it has produced a lot of fairly successful people that you wouldn't really think came from
like a lot of
Awful
comedy writers and people who've been really funny on Twitter and then gone on to be comedy writers and all the rest of it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a very interesting place.
The guys who made Tiny Tower, the mobile game, they're goons as well. It's crazy. Really? Yeah. There's lots.
Yeah, I'm always bumping into people who are goons. It's a funny one. There's quite a few guys that watch my stream that are goons, and some of them were the ones that told me. So yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, but, that's wild. Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but you're right. He was turned out he wasn't very nice to quite a number of people, including partners and stuff. So it's a weird one for sure. But yeah, it's what a mix of emotions regarding news.
It's a real mix of emotions.
It's such a weird thing. Yeah,
that is weird. That is definitely a weird one.
Yeah.
I wonder whether it started with the boxing. Because a lot of people get this sort of head trauma, and it leads them to fall apart.
I don't know if I don't know if there was any like.
I think he just punched him once in the body, and he was like, "Whoa, he's actually doing this."
Yes.
Like he thought it was going to be like a laugh, and Uwe Boll came out and actually hit him, and I think Rich guy just sort of ran out of the ring. Right? It was
just
like
back
no. Well, he
he
was like a sort of silent film actor, wasn't he, in the ring? Because he'd sort of been told, I think, that Uwe Boll was just going to sort of make a show of it, but apparently no, he properly. He knocked him out on the first round properly, knocked him down a bunch of times. Really punched him a lot in the head.
Yeah.
It was a bit overkill, honestly. It was like a bit sad.
Well, he can definitely accept as solace, I suppose, that Uwe Boll is one of the worst directors that ever directed film.
I think that was a big part of why they did the boxing match.
Yes, they did, because they made fun of him a lot on
beef
essay, right?
leading up.
There was
to
a lot of internet beef. He was fighting all of his critics, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot.
He fought lots of different people.
It's the most pathetic response to criticism. If you are called out for being bad at something and people say, I don't like your movies, I think they suck, and tell you why, to then say, I will fight you in the boxing rings and let us take it to the mat.
I know. It's not refined, but this is how they settled things back in the day.
Let us find out who is right by fist fighting it out.
Who is correct and who is wrong.
This is how they used to do it, though. This is a tried, tested, and true method of resolving
from fucking
issues.
medieval times. But even then, they'd never actually like
some things just take longer to die off than others. Like some people just want to resolve their issues like that. Look at my neighbors in the parking situation. They've resorted to medieval times to resolve their...
Right.
I'm just joking. My neighbors have not ever assaulted each other that I'm aware of, but I was just trying to make the point that it happens all the time.
Are they getting pretty close?
No, not even really. I saw my friend this morning, the good morning guy.
Morning!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just said good morning to him again. Said good morning to me from like a mile away. It was good.
Good morning!
Yeah. I'm trying to like expand it a little bit as well. So like I say good morning. It's like, oh, have a good day.
Now.
See you later or whatever, just to like,
okay,
just to
try to open it up,
just to spice it up a little bit.
Use it like an icebreaker to sort of make friends. You don't want to get to know him though, because you won't like it. It will ruin the good morning moment.
He's like 4 years old as well, so it'd be kind of weird to get to know him too.
Oh, well, I thought his dad.
His dad is like an actual like older dad. I don't know how old.
Are there some like rich older dads on Jersey?
Oh, I'm sure there are. Yeah, I don't know any of them.
I've seen this as a sort of thing that these older celebrities have kids sometimes quite late.
Yes.
And I'm always a little bit like uncomfortable with it, not from the angle that, when they're a teenager, their dad's either going to be in a wheelchair or just dead. But then again, like these old billionaires, they're living forever. It made me think of that thing from Silicon Valley where there's that. They have those blood boys. Have you heard of this?
No, I've never heard of this, no.
Just like in Mad Max.
Yeah, it's like a thing where there's this study done a long time ago in science, which was one of these awful studies where they...
Studies in science!
But it was where these people basically sewed like an old mouse to a young mouse and connected these sort of circulatory systems together.
Right.
And the old mouse got like quite a lot more rejuvenated by having access to
sucking the life out of the young mouse.
Basically, I suppose I don't know if it like aged the young mouse equivalently, but they didn't like meet in the middle and become two middle-aged mice.
I don't feel like the young mouse should have to go through that though. I mean, old mouse never went through that, so why should young mouse go through it? You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Well, it's because of crazy scientists, but I think the whole point of it was that there was this idea they learned from it, that the idea was that you could kind of extend the life of mice by giving them young blood, right?
Yeah,
it was a thing that we saw a lot of happening with old Lance Armstrong. When he was, one of his main ways of cheating was that he would have these blood transfusions at every fucking rest stop, either from his own blood that he'd kept
his own
from
stockpile
earlier,
of drug-free blood,
some young 18-year-old Hollywood boy blood, which I think is what like these because there was this, Peter Thiel, a big sort of famous entrepreneur. There was a thing, wasn't there, about him? I don't know whether he's one of the horrible ones, but he was reportedly spending $40,000 every quarter on an infusion of blood from 18-year-olds. And he also was taking these like hormone replacement pills and stuff. I'm fascinated by this life extension stuff, right? Because you do see these Hollywood celebrities.
I feel like maybe you're only obsessed with it because you're interested in doing it yourself. I could see you with a blood boy one day,
But what don't you think it's so
strike me as the type.
Hot? Like when we were a kid.
Yeah, I don't think that's hot, no, but you seem to think that it's hot somehow. I don't know.
It's not hot. I think it's incredibly fascinating. I think also so barbaric, right? Like when we were kids, we assumed that by the time we were middle-aged or old, there would be some sort of technologies invented, like a pill that would keep you young or like preserve you, and like. But no, it's all still like scalpels and like just taking people's blood and sticking it in you like vampiric. This is like Roman fucking era stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course it is. I don't know what people expected. Like what was gonna change so dramatically?
Bring in the blood boy, and I will bite his neck.
The cars still aren't flying. 20 years past the due date, and the cars still aren't flying. So like, what the hell do people expect? Of course, you're not gonna have like like a piece of chocolate that is enjoyable to eat and also keeps you young forever. Like it's always going to be like this.
So fascinating that that science has advanced so little in terms of age prevention.
Yeah.
That even the hair transplant thing, hair transplants are all the rage. I watched this thing about people going to Turkey and getting them on the cheap because Turkey is apparently the center.
I think it's because Turkish men are very hairy, so it's easy to get hold of.
There's a surplus of hair available.
Man. But no, there's a lot of stories about these young men going to Turkey and having these very aggressive kind of hair transplants. By aggressive, I mean like aggressively positioned on their head. So like very.
You want hair transplant? You want hair transplant? They slap you. Here's your hair transplant. God. Please.
And so they end up with having this like hairline. It's almost like halfway down their forehead. You know, they look like a kind of weird Goomba or something with reduced forehead size. And then obviously 10 years later, they've got this sort of stripy line because they've had the front hair, and then they've got a line where it's all continued to retreat. And then they've got another load of hair that's left at the back. Yeah. It's a very sort of strange
money
phenomenon.
Well spent. Well done.
I know, but it's such a... People do these things to stay young. And there's this whole... I mean, women classically, and, they have to wear all the lotions and the vitamin D and all these things and things that thin their skin. So they have to wear sun cream because they're using some weird retinol or something, that keeps the wrinkles from forming. And, they're using these from the age of about 12, because, got to make sure that you're always, protect yourself. And that way, when you're 80, you're not going to look like, a normal woman. You're going to look like some kind of bizarre stretched piece of parchment that's been, left out in the sun. It's so weird. Like, I mean, the plastic surgery that we used to see definitely made people look like a ghoul. You either look like a woman or you look like a ghoul that had plastic surgery. And I guess it's better now because you could always see it, right? You could see that plastic surgery face that they have. It is so simple. There's no. Whereas the cure for baldness was always like a wonderful idea, right? That there would be a pill for it. But no, it's just plucking the hair follicles out one by one, and putting them back in.
I want to just say I think there have actually been quite a few advances, but they're not applicable yet. So I know that stem cells is a big thing because if I understand it, and obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying what I read.
I mean, you sound like you know what you're talking about. So
thank you.
I'll keep listening.
So cells that replicate have like a bit on them that gradually burns down like a candle, and it stops making new cells.
Telomeres, they're called.
Okay, there you go. So when they get too short, you stop being able to replicate new cells, and it all starts to go wrong, and you get old and die. So if you could reverse that, you wouldn't have that problem. Especially, if you could do it in people's brains, we wouldn't have people going senile and all the rest of it. Brain tissue wouldn't decay. Yeah. So I know that the fact they even know how this works, and there are ways that they can do things, and stem cell research is meant to be very promising. But there are a lot of holdups to...
Really, it's really controversial too. It's unlikely to ever be supported.
So America, obviously being a big engine of medical technology, if they're holding it up, you're kind of relying on other people doing it. And because of the nature of the American healthcare system, which is, in my opinion, very unfair. Well, but it also does lead to a lot of money and investment in research and stuff. Yeah. Because then you can make more money. These are companies now. They're not healthcare providers. They're businesses.
No, but
so
I think
they're looking to make money with all these treatments.
I think stem cell research. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I seem to remember there being a lot of opposition by religion in America as well.
Yeah, it's because it basically you use fetuses not like little babies, but like tiny clumps of cells.
And usually, if religion has an issue with something in America, it will hold it up, right? Yeah. Like they're very powerful. They're very financially, influentially with the government and stuff too.
Which is crazy because you would never get. I don't think there's been a president yet who doesn't say that they're very religious and God and all that kind of stuff.
No, yeah.
It's kind of strange to me that that's the case in America, which has specifically limited the effects of religion, in the Constitution, all that kind of stuff.
Man, wouldn't it be weird if the president just got up and he's like, "Hail Satan, everybody! We're doing it."
Plenty of people think that is the case. They think that you're a bunch of Satanists and pedophiles, and they eat the babies and they use their blood. They use the blood to gain power, and you're going to take over the world. So this week, I finished reading a book that I'd started some time ago. I don't know if you guys do this, but I'll get a book, I'll start reading it, and then I'll get distracted by something else.
I'd love to say that I do this, but God, I haven't read a book. I think the last books I read were the Red Rising books, which was how many years ago now? Like
4?
I never read anymore.
That's a long time.
I read stuff like on my tablet, you know, like I read like stuff on Reddit or news or whatever, but I haven't read a book in so long. Sorry to derail.
I honestly, I'm the same because if I'm at home, I've got the computer. So there's all these games to play and waste my time with and fail to expand my brain in any way. It's terrible, but you know, it's human nature, I guess, because I know lots of people that do it. Anyway, what
have you read?
It was about the SOE. It's about the special. I think it's Special Operations Executive, which was basically
Special Operations Executive.
You fucking cunts. Sorry.
No, it would have been more like, oh, the Special Operations Executive. Let's go over to France and give Fritz a bloody nose. It was like World War II.
Like the World War II one, yeah.
Yeah, so
not
it was
the
like
modern day one where they're like
a hooligan firm?
You fucking cunts. Like, yeah,
I don't think that's MI5 though. I still don't think that's
the SAS.
Yeah, that's the SAS. Yeah.
No, I slotted him. Turn around, another Arab there, slotted him and all, grabbed a little rocket and blew up their house.
Yes. Yeah, it's a far cry.
This was like when they said, my old Oxford chum Tom came to me and said we were going to have some jolly japes over in France. So they dropped us into a field with about 50 tons of dynamite strapped to our backs, and we started strapping it to the sheep because the Germans loved eating lamb. So we thought...
I know, yeah. They're two different styles, but I think both of them are effective in different situations, right?
Yeah, sometimes you want a bunch of hard nutters. I'm not being funny, but if I was like, lads... We've got this really horrible job.
Man.
You have to go in behind enemy lines, kill a bunch of people. It's going to be fucking rough.
And fucking unblock some drains while you're back there too, right?
Yeah.
Just shift a metric shit ton of gravel like that's in the way.
Well, so that's part of the mission.
Yeah.
There's an enemy base you got to take out. Then we want a new path put in around the side of the house.
Need to build a new roundabout after we're done, boys.
And the fence at the back is looking shoddy. Once you've done that, there's another safe house you want you to take out. But then when you come back, that sink needs putting in. It's been there for a week. These marble counters aren't going to put themselves in, lads. Right, you all gaffer. Let's go.
You fucking can't. Yeah, fuck you.
That doesn't make it into the book that they inevitably write afterwards.
No.
So then we killed their whole family and installed a lovely lino floor.
I said to Tom, where's the bloody hammer? He handed me the hammer and the nail went in. Bam! Nailed. Yeah, no, that's the dull chapters they cut out.
Yeah.
Imagine the editor. Why have you put all this stuff about home improvements and DIY in here? It's just part of the job, you just get on with it.
Just do what we're told.
You don't even think.
I love that.
You just drill it.
I love that. Okay, so sorry, you were reading a book about the special executive branch.
The Special Operations Executive, I think they were. The SOE, which became like the MI5 and the CIA and all these other things came from this idea that they should have international networks of spies to keep an eye on and potentially disrupt enemy activities and stuff like that. So the SOE was tasked all over the world. They were everywhere. They dropped them into France and Yugoslavia and all around there, Greece, Burma, everywhere.
These all sound like prime locations to get a hair transplant while you're there.
You could get a bloody good hair transplant, and that's thanks to the SOE. One thing we set up was hair transplant.
All these poor old folks.
We found the hairiest nations we could.
No reason. We just fancy.
We earmarked 10 very hairy nations, and that's where we set up operations for hair transplants.
But it was crazy because they'd be given these missions go into the jungle, meet the hill tribe people that live there, get them on side, and then just give the Japs a bloody nose. And they would be sort of off there for months, living off the land or very basic supply drops that the planes would come in and drop to them. It was bonkers. It was this unseen side of the war. I don't know how much difference it would have made, but it certainly kept them, them busy. I mean, because the Japanese were obviously trying to push through Burma and then potentially all the way to India, because that would have been a huge get for them. They could have beaten the English or the British in India and taken over India. That's a huge population and resource and everything that if they had China and India and the whole of Southeast Asia under Japanese rule. Obviously, that's an empire. That was their goal. The problem is, it's really rough. Anyone that's played Hearts of Iron 4 can attest to this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also rough in reality.
Miserable, yeah.
Going from China all the way through to India, it's just like the worst infrastructure, the roughest terrain.
Yeah.
And
doesn't matter how many factories and stuff you build, you're always
brutal.
You're always behind.
Yeah. So, and you've also got an awful lot of, and this would have been back in the 40s. I don't know what it's like today, but this would have been back when there were still basically tribes of people, not living as sort of natives, as it were, but tribes of people living in the deep jungle and in the hills and those areas in places like Burma, which is now Myanmar, I think, and all the rest of it, that were sort of, opposed to anybody fucking coming in. But the Brits went in and said, like, look, we want to kill the Japanese as well. Are you with us? And they were like, absolutely. So it was like making friends with these guys for this sort of resistance style fighting. And it was just unbelievable. And the stories that they tell are just incredible, absolutely incredible.
It's a classic thing Lawrence of Arabia was that, wasn't he?
Right.
Very famously went out into the hill tribes of, was it Iran or Iraq?
I'm not sure where it would have been.
Maybe the Turks. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But there was certainly this. Certainly, it was a classic thing that we've done. And people knew about him, during, because he wrote the book after the First World War. It was a very, standard thing to drop these sort of upper-class Brits behind enemy lines, sort of, diplomatically pay or make friends with all these tribes.
So this was promises. To mess with the Ottomans.
Yeah.
So it was along the coast of the Red Sea and to recapture Mecca. That was the idea. So they got this was, the Ottomans were obviously in World War One. The Ottoman Empire was on the side of the Germans. That's why we got the Australians to fight them at Gallipoli and places like that, which was a disaster of our making. I guess they sent him in there to try and what they called the Arab Revolt, which is where they got a whole bunch of the tribes and stuff to go and fuck with the Ottomans. It was pretty crazy. I do think it's interesting how often things like this happen, and then subsequently some awful thing comes out of it. I mean, for example, you think you're doing the right thing at the time, you're doing what's necessary at the time, but then it leads to catastrophe later. For example, the Taliban is a prime example of that, who were funded by the CIA. And they were, to fight the Russians during the Russian-Afghan war.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, of course, became the Taliban that we sort of think of now as our enemy. So how times change, the stuff you do today, you don't know what effect it's going to have in 20 or 30 years. You should probably be more careful. That's all I'm saying. In general, we don't really plan ahead. We just think about how do we win this now? How do we sort this now? And you don't think about what's going to happen in 20 or 30 years. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. And there's always this idea that you can get the local people to fight the battles for you.
Yeah.
It's certainly a thing in Vietnam and all other things. That rather than send troops ourselves, we can, just send them money and planes and let them do it. And they're the ones who have to die.
It never works.
Thing that will make it worse.
Yeah, no, it never works.
In Vietnam, the South Vietnamese army, the Americans gave them tons of guns and training. And I think much in the same way that happened in Afghanistan, these guys didn't actually want to fight. It's hard to convince people to fight against their own countrymen if you're also planning to leave. It's sort of like, well, I don't really want to have to do this because this is going to be a really rough fight and you guys are going to fuck off and then we're going to have to deal with this forever.
We love all this stuff about the sort of all the deceptions and the deceit and all these sort of strange little quirks in World War II. It really was like this whole thing where everyone was getting involved in so many different ways to try and just win the war. There was just everyone was thinking up.
But this is the interesting thing is quite often you would have to help a group of people. Like, for instance, Greece was a mess because there were a lot of different factions in Greece, and this is something that I think, like, we think of World War II as a big collection of us versus them. Like, there were two sides, but there really weren't. There were a lot more sides that also thought, like, imagine if you were waiting, if you had a group of lads who were, like, on side with your political goals, and you're just waiting for a way to overthrow the government and seize power. When World War II breaks out, that's actually quite a handy way to do it. So if you pick the right side, to back you, and you say, hey, we'll come in on your side. We just want help with, overthrowing the government, and then we'll be a regime that will help you out.
Yeah.
So you get all these other sides. They don't really give a shit about who wins the war. They just want to make sure that they win their little corner of it. And if getting this big team to help you out will further your goals, then so be it. So it's
an opportunity for them to
it's very
capitalize on
exactly.
for their own goals, for their own change that they want. They've been looking for an opportunity. I think it's so. It's so interesting because there's so much history happens all at once.
Yes,
as a result,
it's such a massive conflict.
It's crazy to unravel.
There's so many different moving parts, but it is interesting.
But what are those guys doing day to day? Like, imagine if I'm, let's say I'm a communist revolutionary leader, right? What's my day? What do I do? I'm in Greece in 1939.
You take your kid to school.
Yeah.
Good morning, you say to the man that you walk past on the street.
What do I do for my day job? What am I doing? I'm not going to work at the shoe factory.
I think you're just signing death warrants like all day long.
No, but I can't sign death warrants because I'm not in charge of
power
anything.
yet.
Oh, you're not in power yet.
We're just hoping. So
let's say well, you're putting together the list of all the people that you're going to write death warrants about when you finally do get in power.
I see.
I think that's all you do.
So I spend my day doing like one of those, what are they, like a wish cloud or whatever.
Yes, pretty much,
writing down names and joining them up.
I want to kill Gary.
Man, if I
want to
kill
power, Steve.
Gary would be so dead. Steve would be so dead.
Oh my God.
Tony
Brendan is
dead.
so dreamy. I can't wait till he's dead. I can't wait to sign his death warrant one day.
Kendall dead.
Vote for me. I'll kill Brandon and Gary and Steve
Kendall?
and Brian and Kevin. They're all gone.
Famous Greek names, these all.
Yeah. Yes. Pyrion-opodopolous and Stephen Popolous. Yes. All of them.
And Brandon Kapopopoulos. Terry
Stephanopoulos and Steve Polychronopoulos as well.
So they must just be on the blower to their mates, saying, "God, when are we going to have this revolution?"
Yeah,
like there must just be all the time, and I guess they're doing pamphlets.
Oh, they're
doing
pamphlets. Back then, they were in bars all the time as well, right? It was
like they're just in a coffee bar or a bar, like just sitting there sipping coffee and saying, "How shall we overturn the government?"
These guys they don't care about the working man, and drawing up posters, protesting a lot. They do a lot of protesting.
But you'd have to be careful. This is the thing. I don't think you could just be out there going to universities, say, and giving speeches or protesting in the street.
Oh no, that's where it happens the most. But
you could just get killed.
Streets. Yeah, but
what I'm saying is you just get killed. But if you're the leader, especially, I think the government in charge would be like, this guy's trying to overthrow the government.
You could, but in some ways, like somebody getting killed, it almost like in some ways it kind of
can galvanize.
It helps them, right? Because
but they don't want to get killed.
I told you these guys are awful. Like now they're just killing us and stuff, and then more people are going to be like, oh yeah, maybe these guys are right. But I don't think
the leaders want that. The leaders aren't like, here's what I'll do, lads. I'll start a movement, then I'll get killed, and we'll become famous, and it'll work. I think they're like, I'd rather stick around and lead.
It's just opportunities where you can get them, right? Like I think
I'm just wondering what they did. Like day to day, how much of it was just talking to, like, I guess you're always looking to recruit people, but it would be like the mafia in that you want to keep a distance.
Yeah,
you want to have underlings that go out and do your bidding. A lot of it is
just kind of like social manipulation and stuff too.
Building up a gang.
Yeah,
almost.
Of course.
Having different branches around the country.
Finding people that are like-minded and then doing things that you can to increase that influence. Right? It's just
going windsurfing together.
Yeah, of course. Playing chess together, throwing some javelin at the beach in the dark or whatever. Like anything you can to cement the relationship.
I did something last week. Or was it this week? I think it was this week. I did something I hadn't done in a while. I went to the movies.
Oh my God. Did you go see Dune?
No, I'm going to see that. I was going to see that this afternoon or at some point by myself. I was just going to go see it. I might see it at the weekend. I don't know. But I do really want to see it. But I saw The French Dispatch instead because I'm a big Wes Anderson
it's so
fan.
hard. I can't justify it at this moment in time going to the movies by myself. Like my wife would probably be like a little bit.
She'd probably kill you.
Upset about that. Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, you know, like I said, you get to level 12 where I'm at, level 12/9/10.
Yes,
almost. They pretty much look after themselves. You know, I mean, we had to get a babysitter when we went to the movies, but it was.
How was it? Was it good?
I enjoyed
what did you
it.
go see?
The French Dispatch.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
That's all right.
Oh, Wes Anderson. Oh, nice. Is it good?
Yeah. It is good. I personally don't think it's his best.
Who's in it? Bill Murray and like
everybody.
All the usuals.
Bill Murray.
It's a huge ensemble cast. Like you'll have people popping up. Like Henry Winkler's in it.
Really?
I don't think he even has a line, but he's just
like
in
the
it.
Fonz.
Yeah, but like Bob Balaban's in it. I think he has one line. Like all of these, there's all these actors in it that you see.
Benicio del Toro, Adrian Brody, Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I mean Benicio del Toro. Let's face it, is in everything though. Like
Lea Seydoux is in it. Like everybody's in it. It is ridiculous.
Francis McDormand. Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, of course.
These are all people you
Everybody.
Stephen Pompanopoulos and
exactly.
Owen Wilson.
Pyrionopodopolous in it.
Oh yeah, Owen
so
Wilson's
it's got a lot of very funny bits in that are very Wes Anderson-y. But here's the difference. I've seen all his films. I love his oeuvre. His
yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
The difference with this is it's essentially about a magazine called The French Dispatch, and it's a series of 3 stories. It's like a 3-parter.
Does it have all the usual like lots of nice like little boxes with ribbons on them and stuff like that?
All that kind of stuff.
Oh, good.
It's all like it's set in France, obviously, and all the stories are set in France. And he's done a very good job of sort of having a sort of almost a caricature of France without looking too much like a caricature of France. It's very French, which is funny. If you've been to France, there's little details you notice. You're like, all right, that's as a foreigner's vision of France, that's spot on. And so that's very funny. It's just got some brilliant touches. But what I loved about all his other movies was that they all had a central character who was a very strong character, and you almost followed them through the film. And they underwent some changes, and it was. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's quite a similar thing in each of his films.
Yeah.
But I love that. His movies are just. I think they're so funny and they're so brilliant. But this one is different in that it's just 3 standalone stories, and it's not as strong because of it.
Right.
Right.
And I think one of the stories is particularly stronger than the other 2, to the point where you think, wow, if the whole movie had been like this, it would have been like much better. But I don't think it's my favorite of his films. There's also a ridiculous amount of detail to it, such that I think you'd have to watch it again to really catch everything. It's almost an overload of Wes Anderson stuff happening all the time. But it is very, very good. It has some really funny moments. But overall, I would say it falls down compared to his other works because it doesn't have that one central character who is so fascinating, like Roy Tenenbaum. From the
that was I think that was my favorite Wes Anderson.
He's brilliant,
movie,
right? Like you just want to see this character, and he's such a brilliant character.
But just everything about it was good. I like like their cool house and like just all the character, the children and everything. It was just a great movie.
It was a great movie. But like Steve Zissou, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, his character is so good, and everything kind of hinges off everybody's relationships with this character and how it all.
The Grand Budapest, the hotel.
Grand Budapest,
that
of
was
course.
Great too.
Ray Fiennes' character in that is like
really
everything
good.
hinges off him. So it's kind of weird when you take away that anchor, how the film slightly, for me, it weakens it. But I'm not complaining. It's still a Wes Anderson movie, which I'm delighted
He did that
to see,
one. Was it the Isle of Dogs or whatever?
That was brilliant.
Yeah,
I really loved that.
My kids were watching it the other day, but I still haven't seen it. I should probably watch it. Get around to watching it.
Really, really, really good. Yeah.
Man, I've been watching season 2 of the Goes Wrong show, which is like super dad humor, but I like it. It's lighthearted. And the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm's come out as well, which has been
is there
really
a new season?
Yeah, there's 3 episodes already. It's been really good, actually. Really good, really funny. It feels like an earlier season, more so than like the most recent ones. It's been really good. Goes Wrong show is just a BBC comedy. It's like I don't know how to explain it. You might like it. You can check it out. It's on iPlayer or whatever. It's called The Goes Wrong Show.
The Goes Wrong.
It's very much it's a very like sort of it's a very throwback sort of show.
It's like very slapstick sort of stuff, but it's like they're doing a theater production, but like everything goes wrong. So like the set collapses sometimes. The actors forget their lines.
There was a play called The Play That Goes Wrong.
Yeah, I think it's probably based off of that. It might even be the same people. I'm not sure, but
I remember we watched it with your kids.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, my kids like it as well because it's a lot of like you know, like somebody will be dressed up like in a muscle costume, but their muscle, like it's inflated and it'll just pop or whatever. You know, it's just
very BBC.
It's dumb stuff like that, but it's
in a nice way that you don't necessarily see a lot of like these days.
No,
you know, I don't know. It feels like we import so much TV and ideas from other places that, like, I don't want to say the Britishness cultural thing is dying. I don't think it is. I think you can find it certainly in all sorts of places.
Yeah, check it out, Flax. Watch it with your kids. See what they think. My kids love it. They think it's funny. Like it's kind of dumb, but it's pretty funny.
My kids are just fucking heavy into anime. So
yeah, man, it's mine as well. I
fucking love anime.
Mine watched the Last Airbender, Avatar, that one.
How can you not laugh at that name? In all honesty, like it's such a ludicrously comical
I don't
name.
get it. He's like, I want to see the movie, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's like,
the movie's meant to suck.
Is it the one with the blue people or the M Night? Yeah, well, I know, but because like I didn't really understand what it was because I thought it was Avatar, so I thought it was based off the movie, but it's not at all. But
it's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's weird.
Yeah, but it came before. It's really good. It's really
seems
good.
All right. Yeah.
What the M Night Shyamalan one?
Oh, no, not the movie.
That's meant to be awful.
The cartoon, the anime series.
The anime, yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, it seems
my kids fucking love all that shit. They're watching it all the time.
Yeah, it's great.
And my youngest enjoys a show called, is it Superstore or something it's called, about a bunch of people that work in a shop?
Sure, it's a comedy.
Lewis watched that, yeah.
It's kind of like The Office or something. Yeah. I watched it as just a generic garbage thing to have on in the background.
She loves it. It's not inappropriate. Mrs. F said she watched it and it was okay.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
Because she loved Modern Family, she loved The Office, and now she loves this show.
Right.
But she also watches a lot of anime with her older sister. They watch anime. What's that one about a classroom? Something about a classroom.
It's like every anime ever, pretty much.
Yeah, they're in a classroom and some kid has powers and they laugh their heads off at it. I'm like, this sucks. This is not funny. This absolutely sucks.
You become that dad.
Yeah.
This stinks, kids.
My Hero Academia is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one. I mean,
it's good. Again, it is really good. These are all great shows.
Yeah, well, they fucking love it.
Yeah, you don't be sad.
No, I'm not sad. I'm just fucking disappointed.
It's all fine and safe and like quite. It's fine. They're all pretty wholesome. All these things you're saying.
We were talking about nostalgia the other day. I was talking on stream last night actually with some mates of mine about Ready Player One.
Oh yeah.
Right, which. So my dad sent me that book. He was like, "You got to read this book. It's the best book ever." And he's read it like multiple times. And he got the Will Wheaton audiobook and he listens to that all the time. He loves it. He fucking loves it. And he said to me, "It's just so nostalgic." And I read it and I was like, "This isn't nostalgic. This is like if you Googled 80s and just took all the top results and copy pasted them into a book. That's not nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's literally just, hey, remember so and so?" I was like, yeah, I do. I do. Of course. Anyone of my age does remember that. It doesn't evoke emotions just because you've said it. That's not nostalgia. Nostalgia is a feeling. It's not something you can evoke by just putting words and like, hey, it's this. Remember this? Yeah, I do. What about this? Yeah, I also remember that. Remember this guy? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I remember all those things. Yeah.
So that was Ready Player One, and they were telling me that the movie updated it, so it was like more modern references, like the Iron Giant and shit like that, rather than 80s references.
Right. Yeah.
So what I didn't get was, like, when I think of nostalgia, it's stuff that people almost remember in a way that you might have even forgotten. And it evokes a real emotion. Like Bagpuss, for me, is a very emotional, nostalgic thing. And I love Bagpuss. I showed it to my kids. They thought, this is the sweetest show ever. Like, this is so lovely. It is just a wonderful, gentle show that really is evocative of its era. And I just love
oeuvre.
it. It's
oeuvre.
Oeuvre is top drawer. I just loved it.
Very Wes Anderson.
Bagpuss ain't in no Ready Player One. You know what I mean? Like, they put the video game Tempest. Do you remember Tempest?
No. There was a lot of references in that in Ready Player One lost on me as well. Like some of it obviously I knew, but some of it was, I think they probably had to compromise because they wanted to get more demographics in or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, fuck is Tempest?
Tempest is I've never seen a game like Tempest. I think they remade it recently. But it's a video game where you're looking a sort of wireframe tunnel, and creatures come up the tunnel towards you. The controller was a dial, and you have to turn the dial and shoot down the tunnel. That's the whole game. Like you just spin the dial to move your control. So imagine if I'm looking down a cylinder, although it's not always a cylinder, it changes shape, and there are things coming up the cylinder towards me, and I'm controlling something that's on the lip of the cylinder that's closest to me, and I turn the dial to move my controller, and then I shoot down the cylinder to shoot the approaching creatures. For its time, it was genuinely incredible, and the graphics were great, the light, the sound, everything. I loved it. Tempest was a phenomenal game to play in the arcade. Completely absorbing. It was
but
brilliant.
again, I feel like I get the opposite of nostalgia, right? I think, oh, this will be really nostalgic to play. I have a go, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't remember it like being this bad,
the game,
or this out of date, or this unplayable, or this boring.
I think that's the thing. It's not the game itself that I find I'm nostalgic for. It's the experience around the game. It's like that the feeling you have at the time around the game as well, right?
It has to evoke an emotional connection, I think.
There's certain things like, if I went back and played Final Fantasy II right now, I'm sure it's a great game. But like, you know what I mean? I've played 20 years worth of games since or whatever, and that have been probably better, and the evolution of games, whatever, fine. But like, I'll always remember like the smell of my basement when I was like, 10 years old, and I played that game on my summer vacation. You know what I mean? And I had no responsibility. And like, that's what I'll be nostalgic for. Like, just playing the game again might remind me of that, but like, I'll always just kind of remember it anyway, sort of thing, right? Or even like Diablo 2. I tried to play Diablo 2 Resurrected, and it was like, yeah, great, they've done a good job. It's Diablo 2 for sure, but like, there was so much missing, like I was missing like my fucking
Hot Pocket,
my
mum's basement,
five empty cans of Mountain Dew, and my zip pads next to my desk, and you know what I mean, like it's the feeling that's missing,
the homework that's uncompleted,
exactly,
and,
yeah,
the school uniform.
You miss out all that stuff that like with it too, right?
It's like teenage testosterone.
Yeah. I feel like it's nostalgic enough, but like but at the same time, it almost feels false too, right?
It does almost scratch the surface, though.
Yeah.
I think that certain smells and certain sounds and certain moods, and and just sitting down with a book in front of the telly on like a cold night, or there's certain times when it does evoke this kind of reminiscence and nostalgic, nice, comforting, warming feelings. It's certainly happening as we move into winter, and I'm starting to get in the Christmas spirit. I hate to say that phrase.
Man. Wow. Really? Already?
Are you really?
Well, I've started to see Christmas trees go up and like Christmas lights and stuff. And obviously I'm preparing the Jingle Jam, so I'm organising the streams and I'm watching back old clips. And I'm starting to find myself like thinking about Christmas time in a kind of positive way, though. Like we always forget about Christmas quite quickly because we're sick of it. After Christmas, we're like, thank God it's over. Sick of it. But then after a while, you're like, oh man, we were really into that for a few weeks.
Wait, you've seen Christmas trees go up already?
Oh yeah, it's earlier and
they're all over the
every
place.
year.
Where? Not in people's houses.
In coffee shops and in
shopping. There's like at all the supermarkets, it's like there's like the bargain Halloween stuff next to just like aisles of celebrations and like Quality Street buckets and stuff. Like they've been stocking up for months, right? Like they're ready for it.
Yeah, it's all happening, and I don't know. Like I'm getting a little bit wrapped up in it. Also, we've got to start thinking about recording Christmas episodes for stuff in advance and stuff like this, because Jingle Jam is kicking off, and so we want to do like some content that is Christmassy, and we don't have time to do it while Jingle Jam's happening, so we got to do it before. So I've got to be like, I've got to think up. I don't know. We're searching for like Christmassy themed maps to play.
Yeah, no. It fits with the theme of Christmas. You just being massively stressed out. That's the true Christmas spirit, isn't it? Like all of these things that we think we have to do around Christmas. That's it.
That is true.
You nailed it.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like it does have a certain energy all of its own. Even if it is tinged with stress, it's still like positive. It's good. It's good energy. And it's good to be passionate about something rather than the usual ambivalence that I have to everyday life. Yeah, well, I don't know.
It's a lot to sort out and stuff, but I don't think people should be putting trees and stuff up yet. I'm like, if you put up your tree at the start of December, I'm okay with that, you know? Whatever.
Right.
But like, even then, halfway through December is fine, right? I think have a Christmas tree for 2 weeks is reasonable. No, you don't need one for like a month and a half. Like it's a long time to have a Christmas tree.
It's too long. We had fireworks night the other night. We did it at the kids' school.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Well, actually, my youngest school. Sorry. And I helped out this time, which I don't normally do.
Holy crap.
I actually helped Mrs. F quite a bit with setting it up and schlepping all the stuff that we needed there and everything. And then I helped out in the kitchen, serving the burgers and the sausages to the assembled masses. Here's the thing. We have a system where you have to pre-order, and then we order in the food based on how many people have ordered it. So we cook the exact number we need, plus a few spares in case of dropsies or someone desperate for an extra hot dog. We must have had about 50 sausages left at the end of the evening and about 15 burgers.
Man, think of how many dinners that is for you guys.
And they literally just
take them all
either
home?
Ordered and didn't bother to collect, forgot they'd ordered, or just didn't turn up.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird that I did not anticipate that many no-shows. But we did have quite a few. Some of it, Mrs. F was like, well, it might be a COVID thing. They might have to isolate and everything. It's like, well, fair enough. It just felt like such a tremendous waste. So at the end of the evening, me and one of the other helpers were like, let's put them in one of these big containers we've got, and we'll go out to the people watching the fireworks. If we wait near the exit, as people leave, maybe they'll want like a walking home hot dog. You know what I mean? That was how I was going to pitch it.
Yeah.
Walking home hot dogs, quid a piece, because they're going to get binned otherwise.
Right.
We go out. I heard that the fireworks had started. This was the longest fireworks display I've ever seen at the school. We were there for like 20 minutes, and we look at each other. I was like, these are cold as flip. Like, there's no way we can sell these now. I had to take them all the way back in.
I heard that you guys have walk-home hot dogs. I'll take 20.
Well, we can call them dogs, but I couldn't call them hot dogs at this point. I'm sorry. Cold dogs. These are ice cold. Like, they were literally rock hard. The fat had all solidified. Because it was a cold night, and I was standing there. I thought it was going to be like a minute left of the fireworks. Literally 20 minutes of pew! And normally you're watching fireworks, and it's like, this is great. But I'm just like, fucking come on, get it over with.
Shit.
Yeah, it was the least.
You couldn't enjoy it.
It's the least I've ever enjoyed a fireworks
display.
Man,
my daughter's still kind of scared of them because she's small still, and with the baby and stuff too. So we're just like, we didn't really do anything. But on Sunday we had like a little barbecue. Well, basically I lit the barbecue. We roasted marshmallows, and then the kids had sparklers. I bought them like 10 packs of sparklers.
They love it, right?
Oh man, they loved it. Yeah, they like the sparklers. Well, even my daughter was a bit scared of them at first, but she's crazy because like she's timid of everything at first, but then once she's comfortable with it, she gets into it. She goes crazy. Like she was like trying to do cartwheels with the sparklers and stuff. I was like, calm down. You're actually gonna kill yourself if you carry on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how did you go from being shit scared of these things to then having like no fucking awareness whatsoever around them, like in the space of 5 minutes? It's insane.
I remember in the 80s there was there were a lot of warnings about fireworks. Yeah, because I think prior to that people just fucking shot at them each other, no problem.
Oh yeah.
But there was one where a little girl picks up a sparkler that's just gone out, and someone throws it on the floor, and she picks it up, and in the advert she's like, ah! Screams, and then it cuts to her with a comically large bandage on her hand, like a boxing glove sized bandage, holding up her hand with a little tear, looking sad. And it's like, don't pick up sparklers. My sister saw that. She didn't touch sparklers, I'm not kidding, for like 20 years after she saw that advert. It scared the shit out of her.
The danger of a sparkler, though, is that you've got that, it's dark, and you've got that pointy bit of
hot metal.
You don't tell where the pointy bit is, right? Because the sparkler makes its way down.
That's right. Yeah.
And so you have a sort of burning hot, sharp bit of metal that you're swinging around in the darkness. And you don't know where it.
Also, kids quite often are wearing flammable things. You know, if they're wearing any kind of flammable clothes, a lot of this shit they sell kids back in the 80s, I think, was a lot more flammable than it is now.
We did have a lot of anti-firework like propaganda.
Yeah.
But
it's not propaganda though. It's not propaganda, is it?
PSA stuff, like what's it called? Public service announcement type stuff. Yeah, I remember there'd be loads of adverts.
We used to have in the 80s. You had all the Saturday morning cartoon PSAs. Remember, like G.I. Joe and stuff used to have the segment right at the end, and He-Man as well.
On. Yeah, they had one to grow on was the thing they had.
The more you know, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was all like talking to strangers is bad because they're fucking assholes. That's one to grow on. You know, that's sort of the way it was. Or being nice to other kids. You think, come on, how's this ever going to fucking work?
Hey, Duke, do you think it's safe to talk to strangers and accept candy from them? Well, I don't know, Gridiron. A real American would never take a candy from a stranger. Like, it's all that kind of shit, right? Like,
it could be an agent of Cobra.
Yeah. I loved all that, though. It was really,
now
really
it's
educational.
just on TikTok, and everyone on TikTok talks like, TikTok, going out, seeing how much fucking candy I can get from strangers. Oi, mate, have you got any candy? Give us some candy, mate. Oi, you fucking cunt, give us some candy. And, like, all the kids are out there copying the TikTokers who are doing this stupid, pranky, ballery, dumb content.
Hey, Duke, and do you think it's okay for kids to make TikToks these days? Well, good. A real American would never subject themselves to a TikTok, I don't think.
TikTok's owned by the Chinese government.
It's an agent of Cobra as well, so... Oh, man.
No, well, I mean, I think times have changed, but I don't think people's stupidity has changed.
No.
And this stuff goes in cycles, right? Like, you know, it's not until someone gets like injured or some movement happens that change will actually take place, right?
Yes.
I mean, they were just banned in New York State when I was living there. Fireworks were illegal.
It was hard to get them when I was a kid, I remember.
We still got them. You had to get them in Mexico or from our Russian neighbors. I've told this story before.
Yeah.
They just turned up. We have the fireworks. And they had like a big fucking suitcase full of fireworks that they'd got from their
with launch codes and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mind the launch codes. We will just
don't input those codes.
We will just use
fireworks.
the rockets for tonight. Just the little fireworks, not the launch codes. Don't look at that, kids.
Fucking hell, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think just keeping it simple was pretty good. Like when my kids are older, like there's a big bonfire. There's like 4,000 people like out in one of the parishes or whatever. My son, like a bunch of his friends from school were going. He's like, "Oh, can we go?" And I was like, "We can't go to that. Like we'll go one day, but man, it's just." I don't know how to skirt the line between being miserable and not wanting to do anything and then my son missing out on potentially stuff but being able to explain to him that it's like all kind of disappointing as well. You know, like you feel like you want to do this stuff, but like it fucking sucks when you do it. You know what I mean? But like, I guess he has to experience that.
Like indoor fireworks. Everyone has to experience the disappointment of indoor fireworks once.
They are crushing.
Yeah.
The snake is the only good one. I mean, the snake is top draw, but the rest of them are fucking awful.
I think we did some of them on stream.
Oh, yeah.
Recently-ish.
Do they still sell indoor fireworks?
Yeah, they do. You could get them all that. They're all fucking garbage and really like
20 quid,
though.
Fuck off. What is this?
Fuck you.
Quid. Here's the top question people ask. Are indoor fireworks a thing? Just fucking Google indoor fireworks. You need to ask, is this a thing? What are people are so dumb. Indoor fireworks bonanza pack. Give me the list of contents. The Snake's Alive is in it. Ice fountains. Indoor sparklers, and then sizzling strobes, ice fountains, and there's one called Flash Harry.
Nice.
Blazing Bengals, Bang Bang Fun Snaps. God, I don't want them thrown indoors.
Well, they're probably just those snappy things in the little bags.
Yeah, but also
like
they go bang,
in those little pouches.
And it leaves bits of fucking exploded paper all over my house.
Yeah,
dogs
you just do them out on the driveway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My kids get them sometimes. They just do them.
So I said you're not doing them in the house. I thought I was clear about that, kids.
Yeah.
I didn't say you couldn't do them anywhere on the property. I'm just saying not in the house.
Yeah.
Even all those indoor fireworks, they let off a lot of foul-smelling stuff usually.
And the snake's alive.
So does my ass. So.
The snake is like the poop one, right? It looks like
you light it. It's some chemical reaction. It forms a huge snake that continues to. It goes like foams out.
It just keeps. It's one of those chemical reactions. Yeah, I mean, I think it's generous to call it a firework. I suppose
a lot of this stuff is
amazing.
still around, like, and it's always been bad. Remember when you were a kid, the slush puppy maker, SodaStream, the ice cream factory and stuff. Like all that stuff sucks. Like, and they still make it.
Do you know what I mean about like technology not advancing though? Like what the fuck have we got that's new? Well, why are we still using those shit brown snakes? How have they not come up with some new good indoor fireworks in the last 30 fucking years?
There's just no investment in that industry, you know? Like it's just it's all old.
Everyone's investing in like
people.
fucking cryogenically freezing their fucking brains.
Do you want to hear about these fucking snakes? This is a black snake is a term that can refer to two similar types of firework: the pharaoh snake and the sugar snake. The pharaoh snake or pharaoh serpent is the original version of the black snake experiment. It produces a more impressive snake, but its execution depends upon mercury 2 thiocyanate, which is no longer in common use due to its toxicity.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Once lit, both fireworks emit smoke and spew out ash, resembling a snake via an, this is a great word, intumescent reaction. Intumescent.
Ooh, nice.
Intumescent.
Did you guys ever have a slinky when you were growing up?
Yeah, of course.
Did you guys ever make it do the walk down the stairs trick? Like more than one or two steps?
We had wooden stairs, and the slinky would lose its grip.
Oh,
so like on uncarpeted stairs, it didn't work. But I think the stairs had to be a very precise angle and
you had
height.
to have a very certain level of steepness for the.
Or it just either goes too fast and just cunts it down the stairs, or it goes 2 steps and then goes, and just sort of gives up.
Yeah.
It's a very, very precise. I mean, the advert, they've obviously fucking done their lab experience. The correct angle of the stairs has to be as follows.
Well, those ads are always, they still make them. Like if you watch any TV networks, like, you know, like CITV or something like that, where they have ads and mostly for toys, like aimed at kids. It was the same like when we were growing up. Like you see, like even if they're selling Ninja Turtles, they have this fucking amazing like backdrop sewer and stuff. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, I would play with Ninja Turtles there. Then the reality is you get it and you're just like playing with it like on your bed
in your carpet.
Yeah, or in your carpet or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Like even when I was a kid, I was always disappointed because it was like, fuck, I want that cool snow
when they
scene.
show the stuff that shoots, like this is a big thing, like, you know, with a rocket missile firing backpack, and I'll have like a backpack that shoots a rocket, and the kid's like, "Whoa!" and you shoot it, it goes like 2 inches.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Just drops out of He-Man's rocket firing attachment,
and then you lose the projectile almost immediately.
Oh, instantly! Yeah, instantly.
So you're just left with this dude with a backpack that has nothing to fire because it was like one specifically shaped thing, like it was like in a T shape or whatever that could fit into the hole. And then load it into the spring thing, like. But
it's like it sucks all the fun out of it. Just give them a rocket launcher. You don't need it to shoot a rocket.
Just give them
the reality of the shit rocket launcher sucks all the imagination out of you. Like, oh, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like you should just have a rocket launcher. Like it doesn't shoot anything.
Yeah.
It just looks like a rocket launcher. Then they can use your imagination, like pew, boom, rather than it just go meh, and a tiny bit of red plastic plops 2 feet down.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Don't
so
try.
Sometimes it's better for it to do nothing at all
and
than
make
something
it look
disappointing.
Cool. Like if it lights up, like loads of flame lights up, that's much cooler than it's shooting a fucking bit of red plastic. Get me on the toy design board.
Get me on the toy design board.
Toy design board. Get me on there. I design these toys.
A lot of toys now are just like gotcha toys though. It's like you don't know. You get a pack with like something in it, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
and you have to try to collect it all.
Hate it.
Yeah, they're the worst. You just end up with all these doubles and triples and quadruples. And I guess like it would be good if kids traded them or whatever. But there's so many.
They don't.
That like my son will have be collecting one set, and then all of his friends will be collecting completely different sets. So they don't even have doubles to trade. There's too many of them. Yeah. It's nuts.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, just imagine when humanity is long gone, some alien race will turn up and see the mountains of fucking lol dolls
and
all
Atari
the rest
cartridges
littering
all those
planet.
Atari cartridges that are buried underground somewhere.
Yeah. And they'll be like,
oh my god, you got the Britney one.
Swapsies.
I never had that one when I was a child.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much at all. If like from what I've seen, it's just all the same shit. All the dolls that poop and that you can feed them and they poop. I remember all of those like when I was a kid. Like the rubber monster hand puppet ones. Those are still around.
Boglins?
Yeah, they're not called Boglins, so they're just called something different now. And there's like a tie-in with a show or whatever. Man, fucking Paw Patrol is still going, which is like the most formulaic thing ever, right? Like
just toy shifting. I mean, it always has been, but it annoys me that it's on the BBC, blatantly shoved in there to sell toys. At least Peppa Pig was a Bats show, and then they made toys. Fair play to them. Peppa Pig was legit. But all these other shows, like, I know what this is. I'm not a fucking idiot, because I remember this from my childhood, and now you're doing it on the BBC's dime. Unacceptable.
Would you rather have your kids watching that than the TikToker? Do you know what I mean?
I would much rather they watch TV and TikTok.
For sure. Any day.
Like, no, but like imagine like instead of Paw Patrol on the BBC, they put like some young TikTok stars on there.
No,
you know,
a lot of shows reference this stuff though.
Well, I will say this: at the very least, TV is heavily regulated.
It is.
I mean, the fact is that the way the internet works, especially with things like TikTok, that gets me is that content is up there until it's been reviewed or reported enough times that they take it down. It would be like if in television we had infinite channels and you're browsing through the channels and you stumble upon a TikTok where someone says that, you know, I don't want to get political or anything, but vaccines are evil and here's me pulling a microchip out of my arm. And that doesn't get taken down or challenged at all. It just exists. And your kids are watching it. That's what fucking burns me up. Is that at least with television, it's regulated. There are fines if you fuck up. There are departments at these stations whose entire job is to make sure that you comply with regulations and laws. I mean, and things like gambling you can't advertise is very, very, very specific instances you can, but you have to be very careful how you do it. None of that exists online. And the idea is that, this is to enable content creators. It's the fucking Wild West. And if you have kids, you will understand what I'm talking about. Because they will come to you and show you stuff. You think, how the fuck have you seen this? Because some algorithm has recommended it to them. It's awful. It's awful, awful, awful. And I think that it sounds like a parent, something must be done. But this is not the way we've ever done things.
No, of course not.
We have never had things like this. There's always been...
probably the last generation of children are like the first to experience this. This stuff.
Literally unfettered, unregulated broadcasting of anything. And we're just meant to embrace it as the freedom of the internet. I think it's fucking awful. I really do. Sorry to sound like an old Luddite.
No, it's dangerous too. You have to shield your kids.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Sure. Like, you know, we've always had corporations feeding us TV shows like Transformers that are clearly just made to sell toys, right? It's basically a glorified toy advert, like the Lego movie is, and all the Lego Batman and all this stuff is just a glorified toy advert, right? Just it's made by a corporation, and sure, there's people who are passionate who work for these companies, I'm sure, and they've made something that is fun and watchable. Right. Like Lego movies are great, they're fun, they're fine, right?
Yeah.
But I think that you know what is worse, the corporate thing or the unfettered creativity of random.
Well, let me just say one thing about that. Although you are right that a lot of those cartoons and kid shows, especially the ones that we grew up with, a lot of them, not all of them by any stretch, but a lot of them were about shifting toys. Here's one big difference. Kids don't have any fucking money.
Yeah, true.
There is still a further gatekeeper they need to get through to get that stuff. Their parents.
Well, anyways,
right?
guys,
there is a big difference.
We got to wrap this up because I got to go stream and make jizz jokes all day long and convince people that vaccines are terrible. So, you know, if we could just like put a cap on this. I got a legion of kids that want to listen to me talk about this shit. So
it's just a thing.
Hey, you know what's crazy now too? If you watch kids shows like my kids watch like the Loud House and like all these, like a lot of them are like American. There's like British shows too, you know, like the cartoons of the current generation or whatever. A lot of the sort of types of kids, you know, like when we were watching, you know, like if you watched like Saved by the Bell or whatever, you had like the jock, you had like the nerd, you had like the cool guy, you had the teen dream girl,
Slater,
you had then the nerdy girl or whatever, and there was all the stereotypes of the time, right? But now when you watch these shows, there's like the vlogger, there's like the TikToker. No, there is though. Like these have become like current day stereotypes because like for like a lot of kids, these are sort of aspirational things for them. Like they want to stream, or they want to be a YouTuber, or they want to get a viral TikTok, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting.
I love how specific you can make it.
It's interesting to see. Like
also to point out what you were saying about huge corporations trying to shift toys, Lewis. I mean, these are also huge corporations trying to shift views.
Yes.
So it's not really that in that regard. I think it's kind of the same. But there's no barrier to entry to making a TikTok. You just have to own.
So
the app,
all right,
right?
how about this?
Yeah.
Okay, I read it today. I fucked up yesterday. I just want to know how you feel about this. 'Cause
Okay.
someone sent me this.
This is the last thing, unless we have a mailbag.
We don't have a mailbag, no.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is the last thing. Don't worry. Obligatory disclaimer: this happened today. I've been very lonely lately,
Right.
both physically and emotionally. I have plenty of physical options, but I'm at a point where not having an emotional connection leaves me feeling kind of hollow and generally disappointed.
Right.
So I found this guy on TikTok, and he makes relatively risque videos.
Right.
After 30 to 40 reels, I went to his Instagram, which led me to his Pornhub account. He makes videos very much geared towards women, and I scrubbed through several of his videos until I found one. The part of the title that jumped out to me was Lovemaking POV. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the one, emotional and physical satisfaction.
Right.
Everything was going great until the very end when he says, and that's why I love you. And I started ugly crying. I was not expecting him to take it that far in the video. To be honest, I'm still kind of sad about it, but now that I've written it out, it seems a bit funny. And that is a today I fucked up comment. Like, and what do you guys? What's your immediate reaction?
What was
to
the
that?
fuck up? What? Getting upset about it, or
Yeah, it upset her,
right?
Because I think somehow.
All right, first question: what the fuck are you reading? What is that?
This is why I'm reading stuff on Reddit. This was like the most upvoted thing on Reddit.
Yeah, because it's so bizarre. She cried because she watched some POV porn, and the dude said he loved her, and it made her cry. Stop looking at so much porn that it's making you weep. I would say, why are you that invested?
My friend thinks this post is really wholesome.
I think
it's like
awful.
a really wholesome
I think it's
post.
tragic and awful.
I think it's weird that people think it's wholesome as well. Like, what world do we live in?
I feel incredibly sad that girl was so into this person that hearing them say "I love you" made her cry. That I think that's awful and tragic and sad. That's how I feel.
You don't think it's wholesome
No,
that we
I
have
think
the
it's
access
awful.
to these types of things on the internet today? This is the dangers that we're talking about.
Wait, we
know?
think it's wholesome that somebody shared an emotional experience due to is that the wholesome part? Like somebody
have no
was
idea.
just so transparent about how they felt about something?
I'm just so confused about all of that. That there's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
But we live in a world where, you can be lonely. You can stalk people from TikTok to their Pornhub account and get a weird emotional connection and then post about it on Reddit afterwards and share it with everyone.
Well, I mean, but I think that when the person said that they were feeling very lonely physically and emotionally, I think that you do end up in situations, not specifically like this, but you become a bit irrational, right? I guess you need something, right? And so
but this to me is like a sign of deep depression and sadness.
Well,
this isn't the solution, is it?
Well, no, but again, like you don't know what to do, right? Like I feel bad that like the person feels that way.
Maybe it is. Maybe this is fine. Maybe this is the solution.
I just think it's so sad that that this is where we've got to.
I don't know. I'm always this person who thinks maybe this is better than Prozac, Maybe this is fine. We don't know though, do we? We don't know what we're doing. We're in uncharted waters, P-Flax. There's sharks out there.
I cannot imagine that it's mentally healthy.
It's not.
It does not occur to me that this is a healthy interaction.
I don't think this is new either. I think it's just that like this specific scenario exists today because of what's available to us, the things that we can watch, the forums that we can post on and stuff like that. But it was just something. It was just disguised differently 20 years ago, right? Like this all, there's nothing new really about like this kind of behavior.
We live in a weird world where billionaires hire 18-year-olds for their blood and they follow them around, giving them transfusions, and people,
Turkish hair transplants.
People can find a boyfriend on the internet and get emotional fulfillment. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre, yeah.
We live in a weird world. But it's
I feel really bad for that
stuff.
person because that's gotta suck, right? Like just feeling like that.
No, I think she had a great time. She's happy.
Oh, she's happy.
Sharing this moment.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's got like
a humbling.
I don't
moment
think it was
something.
like a moment where she was like, "What am I doing?" She was just like, I didn't expect to
ugly cry off the back of that.
Didn't expect to get such a reaction.
Yeah.
I assume it was a good cry, ugly crying, right? It's not
ugly
bad...
crying to me sounds bad.
Maybe no, but I think some people it's a release, right? Just having a good cry, and I guess if you just in a roundabout way find a way to do that cry, then maybe you would feel better, I guess.
No, I don't know. It just sounds awful.
I mean, yeah.
All right. That's enough then. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Love ya.
Bye.
Goodbye.